What I thought I'd do is to just go through this document. It's a PDF version, and it's called Example APA References RMIC Research Methods in Coaching. I've uploaded this to MySACAP. So this is APA format. That other bibliography reference document that I gave you, I mentioned to you, that wasn't in APA format. So your reference list will be titled References, and that will be a heading level 1, which means that it is in whether it's Times New Roman 12 or Calibri 11, it will be bold, and it will be centered and double spaced like the rest of the text here. The reference list entries are all hanging indent 1,27 centimeters, and it must be in alphabetical order. So I'll start with this first reference, and then I'll touch on a few of them as I go down the list. A lot of repeats which I won't repeat. So this first one is Besaidnout, R, full stop, hyphen M, full stop, comma, and Davis, comma, C, full stop, 2014, and then the chapter number description rather is from topic to research question, and it is in this book, F. Deploy Sillier, C. Davis, and R. M. Besaidnout editors. Editors is a capital E and a lowercase d and s with a full stop. And then there's a comma here, not a full stop. And then the book title is Research Matters. And then after that, the PP, it's for pages 60 to 71. This chapter is in pages 60 to 71. And then the book is, the final piece of information is the publisher, which is Juta and Company. With APA 6 and prior versions of APA, you used to put in, for example, your Cape Town colon Juta and Company. With APA 7, you no longer need to put a location in there. You simply put in Juta and Company. You also don't put in a company form like PTY Limited. The PTY Limited or PTY or CC, whatever it is, doesn't feature in the title of the publisher name. So I just wanted to also point out the small technical issue is Besaidnout R full stop hyphen M. The reason it is displayed as that is the researcher Besaidnout's name is as follows. So let me just go there over here so you can see here. See if I can make this a bit bigger. The Besaidnout is Rosemary, so it's one of those double-barreled names, and that is how you correctly indicate a double-barreled first name in APA. And you'll see here it's chapter 4 from topic to research question, and it starts on page 60 and it continues I think to page, let me just go one back to page 70. Should actually have been page 71. Yeah, it is 71, yeah, page 71. Then the second entry here is a book, and that is available online. It's one of those free textbooks, open source textbooks, and OpenStax is a provider of such open source books. And that's how that is indicated. You've got to have the hyperlink there. This is a, let me just see what this is. This is also an open source textbook. Make sure that that's correct. Let's just see. Yeah, it is authors, and then the book is Information Systems for Business and Beyond. That's the publisher, and it is available as an open source book at that address. And just let me also tell you about the titles. In APA, your book title or chapter titles, the first letter of the first word is capitalized. The rest are lowercase first letters, except if it's a proper noun. Okay. Here, Research Matters is italicized because that's the main book in which the chapter is. In other books, the title of the book is italicized with the same formula, so to speak, where first letter is capitalized of the first word and then lowercase. And then I will show you an example of where we have one of those book titles with a subtitle, which there's a little bit of a difference then in presentation, but the same principles. Okay, and then this is an article, Busher B 2019, and then that's the article. The article title is the same formula. In other words, the first letter is capitalized, and the rest lowercase, except proper nouns. And this the capitalization is like this, even though the article itself may display the title in all caps. In APA, you don't do that. You follow this technique. Okay. So this is the article title in this case is not italicized, but a journal name is italicized. And a journal name is first letter capitalized for each of the words. So it's a full stop over there after the article title. Then you've got the name of the article, of the journal rather, with a comma. And then it's volume 7, edition 1. Okay, so all of this is italicized up to including that 7. That and the rest isn't, from within the brackets and the brackets is not italicized. It's followed by a comma, and then in this case it is an article A to 10. So what students do when I have these online articles that don't have, like, inverted commas, proper page numbers, like in continuous articles in a journal from 1 to 900 pages, let's say it's pages 77 to 94. That is what you would normally put in there, the 77 to 94. But these online articles, often each article starts at page 1 and go to whatever the end is of the article. The students tend to put in that 1 to 10 or whatever that is. That is not correct. You've got to put in there the article number if there's an article number, like that. And then you've got to put the hyperlink in like that, the doi.org. It's got to have the HTTPS in front of it, full on like that. The purpose of a reference list is if I read a report or paper or whatever, I always go to the often go to the reference list to pursue something that I saw in the paper which was cited. I find a reference at the back and I want to go and have a look at that, and that's one of the reasons that you put this in its academic rigor, and it's also to let your readers have a resource to go to the original piece of literature. Okay, what else can I tell you about that? Okay, so here's another article, name, that's article title, qualitative report. Yeah, this is how you display page numbers. There's no PP before that, it's just like that, and then the article hyperlink. In that case, the electronic article had, as I mentioned earlier, page numbers from, let's say, 1 to 900 or whatever, and then you do that. So this entry here, this one here, is an example of a website entry. So the website entry did not have like a author title like John Smith or whatever. It is just a website, like it was an article on the website, a piece on the website. Then what you would do, and there was also no date associated with that web article, you would then put the name in from the organization, the website owner, the organization, and indicate that as no date, n.d. in brackets, and then you would put the page article title in here, the same principle. It will be first letter capitalized and then the rest lowercase except if proper noun. And because there is no author, you've used the organization as the author. Therefore, you don't repeat the organization, which is also the publisher, in there, because you've already got the organization there, and then you give a complete hyperlink so that I can have a go and look, whoever reads it can go and have a look at the article. Okay, this is another website article, and this illustrates where there's actually an author and a date associated with the online website article. So this is not from a journal, it's from a website. It's not a journal, the same as the CDC one, the top one. So here the article, the web article in a website, there was an author, Chancellor D, and there was a date. Often these articles carry dates, and you put that date in there. And then that's the title again. And that article appeared on the Chartered Management Institute website. So you'll put that organization in there, and then you put the link in there. So, okay, this is an example that I want to show you where there's a subtitle. So this is an article, Choi Lee, and the title is Lessons from a Crisis, and then there's a subtitle. You put that colon over there, and then the very first word after that is also a first letter capitalized, but the rest of it, first letter not capitalized, except if it's a name like Toyota, it will be a capitalized. So that is the technique. Often websites or articles even have a hyphen over here where there's the subtitled. You don't insert a hyphen, you convert that to a colon like that. And the rest is the same journal article. The journal name is in first letter capitalized, volume and an edition like that. This is italicized and the rest not, and this is again an example of where there's an article number E1688 and the reference HTTP. Okay, this is an article inside Journal of Human. Yeah, in this case, I don't know why, I had an article which I couldn't find, a copy of an article that I couldn't find a hyperlink for. So there is no hyperlink in this. It sometimes happens. And then maybe this is an illustration also for most of your articles in APA 6. I think you could go up to 6 authors, and then you needed to put et al. Or whatever. In APA 7, you can list all of the authors. I think only when you get to like 19 or 20 do you do something else. In your case, you shouldn't get to that level. I've hardly ever seen an article with so many authors. If you do, just liaise with me and I can help you on your way with how to properly reference that. Okay, so there again, there's no hyperlink. So here's another website where the organization Engage for Success had an article, has an article on their website. There's no date associated with it. There's also no author, so the organization is the author, and that's the title of the web page article, and then that's the hyperlink. You don't put the company in there because you've already got it over there. This is a journal article. This is another OpenStax book like I had before, an example. So there, it's nothing different there. So here's another example of online magazine. It's not like a normal journal, it's just like a magazine with no issue and volumes and all that. So what you would do here is you would have the author in there, and that's the date, that had a date, and then there's the title and subtitle. The 3 is there, so you don't make that a capitalized, and then it's Inc. magazine, and that's the website reference. Now it's in the quality of work of international Janssen. Okay. So a textbook, name, surname, initials, the title and subtitle italicized with the first letter of the title capitalized and the first letter of the subtitle also capitalized. And then when it's a specific edition, you put it in like this, and where the title is italicized, it only goes up to there. The second edition is not italicized, the brackets and the second edition in brackets. And then Routledge. Entrepreneurship. No, it's all journal articles. HR magazine. Please make sure that you put in the link, and I'm sure there's a link for this. Why there's not a link for this here, I wouldn't know. But if I search for wellness blows up, I will probably locate it and can correct that entry. Here's another example of a website, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. Date and then the article name over there, all capital E and the rest first letter not, and then the website link. Anything new? There's nothing new there. I don't know what's the charge. Yeah, okay, so you often or could find, and I often do, find what's called white papers, where it's now over here. This is the white paper. And then there's a specific way that you cancel. There's a specific way that you reference that. Like here, there's the name of the company that issued the white paper. There's also okay, that's a group within Optum. Okay, so you put that as the corporate author, and that's the, like, call it the publisher. It's on their website, optum.com. And then after the title, you put in brackets white paper with a full stop there. And when a title has a, like here, a question mark at the end of the title and it's part of the title, you don't put a full stop after that. You just keep it with the question mark and there's no full stop following that. Okay, reflexivity, the qualitative report. Harvard Business Review. So when you have a paper presentation from a conference, there's an example here. There's Radovic Markovic, and Vucevic. I'm butchering those names. But those are the authors or the presenters rather. That was the date of the conference, October 14 to 16. The title of their presentation paper was The Role of Information Management in Decision Making and Business Success. And then in those square brackets rather, paper presentation, where I said white paper on top, it's also square brackets. And then the conference name, the 4th International Scientific Conference, Employment, Education and Entrepreneurship, and then the short for that, and then it was it was like short named as EEE 2015 as a conference name, and then and then part of the conference name, the topics there was challenges to promoting entrepreneurship, leadership, competitiveness. Okay, so that's still part of the conference name. Okay. And the location was in Serbia. The title of the paper is the same as the others. It's first letter capitalized and the rest italicized like that. In this case, remember journal articles, the title is not italicized. The journal name is italicized along with the volume indicator. So this is an example of a paper presentation conference. Yeah, I gave you a article, how to read a research article if you want to cite that for some reason. And this is what I think is probably the best way of doing that, and I tried to follow APA guidance by kind of researching this a little bit. So you would say South African College of Applied Psychology, and in this sort of case, and the same for ICF and so on, don't use ICF or SACAP, because you must assume the reader can't just interpret what SACAP is. You and I know what that means, but another reader may not. The same with ICF. It's International Coaching Federation. Would be the way to reference that over here, and then cite it accordingly. So that's the date of the article. I think there's a date in that article, the paper document that I gave you, and then it's called course module reading. Here's another one of those open source books, human resource. Is there anything else? So here's a interesting one you see here. So if you haven't heard of it, it's something that from a coach perspective you may want to explore, because the VIA Institute on Character has a questionnaire to identify your character strengths. And there's a free version that can be helpful in coaching situations, in specific situations, contexts. So the way that you would then write up about that, you would write, and then you would cite VIA Institute on Character, 2021, and this is your reference entry for that questionnaire. It's the VIA Institute on Character 2021 VIA Survey of Character Strengths. And then if you click on this, you can get through to where you can register for the survey, so people can find it. Okay, and that's this is an employee wellness industry trend report from Wellable. Again, the company name doesn't go here. The title of the report goes there, and then the link. So that's, I think this is the end. Okay, so I think that's enough for this. If you've got any questions, please give me a shout. Hopefully this is useful. As I said, I've uploaded this to the page, and you can have a look at that. It will be under session 3, the second part of the how to write the literature review sessions. We had the first one last week, session 2, so this I'll put into week 3, session 3. Thank you.